are we on the bus to go to the airport?
We're on the bus to go to the airport.
Well, we're back from Disney World, back in the heart of New Hampshire. It's much colder here, about half the temperature that it was there. It was a pretty hard reality coming back from vacation and immediately going to Market Basket to get groceries. There's just something about the yellow fluorescent lights of that place that was a really deep reminder that it's back to reality. But I have to say that I'm very, and I speak for Sam and really Caden, that it's really nice to be home. It's really nice to be back in the house. We're still settling in, and thank God it's Saturday, so I have all tomorrow to relax. The worst is coming back from vacation and having to work the next day. That's always a brutal reality. Every time I come back from Disney World, I feel this need to give it like a proper review. It's somehow simultaneously so over-criticized and under-criticized at the same time. I feel like it's because it's loved in a way that gives power to the criticisms that people have against it. It always comes down to, like, the negativity around Disney World surrounds the sort of consumption, corporatism, and user experience. Like, the biggest critiques I always hear about it is, the obvious Disney stuff about how they're a huge conglomerate, but yet they're selling you this idea that it's magic and that's all fake and a facade. And then on the flip side, it's loved as if this magic is some sort of like real thing that money can't buy. And in neither of those things I feel like are true or have to be exclusively believed in, if that makes any sense. To me, when I go to Disney World, I mean, what the lasting effects, the lasting feelings that I get from taking my family or going with somebody to Disney World has really nothing to do with the sort of marketing magic, but it's more the magic of the marketing. I view Disney World as this absolute wonder of the world in terms of what branding and voice of a brand and marketing can do over a long period of time. I can't think of a brand or a symbol or a company that has so much of a generational impact. I use the example all the time that there are kids who are younger than me, like my child's generation is watching content that was created for my grandmother's generation. And there is just nothing that I can really look at or grab to that can even be a realistic comparison, because they deal exclusively in emotion. Like, to go to Disney World, put all of the things that you previously understand about it to the side and just go and really appreciate it for what it is, which is a man-made, company-owned world. It truly is a city that is run by a company. And there's simply nothing like it. I have been privileged enough to have traveled many places around the world, but there is nothing quite like Disney World. I think the thing that's most impressive to me is the transportation infrastructure. The infrastructure itself is so impressive. Every resort, every land, every world, every parking lot, every restaurant, everything has some sort of way to shuttle people through it, whether it's by foot, by cable car, by tram, trolley, boat. There is every type of transportation is represented there in some sort of fashion, and it is all so fluid in terms of its ability to move people. They have the ability to transport people and to guide people through this universe that they've created. They have it down so smoothly and so seamlessly that is something that should be appreciated in itself. They have hundreds and hundreds of buses that run almost around the clock and move thousands and thousands of people. There's nearly 90 million visitors to Disney World every year. I mean, they are operating at a massive city scale, and they're doing it all not on taxpayer dollar, but they're funding it through park admissions, hats, Mickey Mouse cookies. I mean, they have found a way to monetize every inch, every second, every moment that you're there. And it's super easy to fall into the idea that like that's somehow supposed to take away from your experience. But I think especially as an American, everything in our lives is so fueled by the dollars we spend that this is just a more concentrated and intense version of it. And frankly, I think you should go to Disney World with the complete openness to the fact that that's what it is. It is a place that is completely trying to get money from you. But I think there's a lot that you can get in return. There really is something that's magical about seeing your child connect with something that is, like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is a show that my son watches nearly every single day. And he is so connected with the imagery of Mickey Mouse, just like someone might be connected to the imagery of Jesus Christ. It is the most powerful fictional symbol in his world. And to see a representation of it that he believes is real or close enough to real to give this incredible emotional response from him is a really cool thing to get. It is a cool thing to witness. I'm perfectly fine with that being because of the fact that it is, they're trying to get money out of me. It's a manipulation tactic, and it works. It's a manipulation exchange no different than Tylenol taking your headache away. I mean, you know what you're in for. You're paying money to get some sort of a physical or emotional response. And that exists in this very camera that I'm talking to on. Sony has made a lot of decisions to create an experience with this camera that gives me some sort of emotional response when I buy it. It's fulfilling some sort of dream of the content I'm going to create, of the stories I'm going to share. It's giving me a moment where I can fantasize about the way that this product is going to change me and my world. And that's no different than what I think you get from Disney World. So it's very expensive, and every time I go there, I'm just in awe by the fact that it's very expensive, but I go there knowing that it's going to be a very expensive vacation. And I think when you accept that, you get more for your money rather than trying to resist it. And that's something that every time we go, we see so many families who are there, and I see parents who are really trying to resist the fact that they're going to spend a lot of money. And I think that hurts the amount of enjoyment that you can get out of it because you're so tunnel visioned at like how much money is coming out of your bank account. And there are lots of ways to do Disney, both expensively and inexpensively, and they cater towards every demographic, they cater towards every income, they cater towards everybody. They're just trying to put a massive net out to get whatever amount of money that they can out of people. And like the park admissions is such a teeny percentage, I think, of what they're actually making. I think that the park admissions are probably just breaking even on utilities. I couldn't even possibly imagine. I bet it just pays for some sort of liability insurance. And the rest of their actual profit definitely comes from the merchandising, the food, the hotels, the odds and ends here and there, because everything is marked up. Everything is an opportunity to to use the phrase, you're over the barrel. You're already spending so much money. So if you're spending $1,500 for a hotel, what's an extra $3 for a beer or a Mickey Mouse cookie? So I don't know. I'm kind of rambling. Again, these are sort of unfinished thoughts, kind of a brain dump. But overall, we had a lot of fun. This is probably the last Disney trip we're going to do for a while, just because the age of Caden and, our next one that's on the way. It's harder now, I think, with a child who's in that 2-year-old age, just because he has such a sense of independence that it's a little bit harder for him to focus on, routine is so important at this age, and it's really hard for him to operate outside that routine. While when they're babies, they're just kind of like going with the flow and consuming information from the outside world. But now it's more of a, he feels the need to interact with that world. And so when that world is so interactive, it's a little overwhelming. So there was a pretty big shift. So that's like one of the reasons I didn't really film so much on this trip, was because now, previously he was just consuming, and now he wants to react to this world with me. He wants my attention. Hey, Daddy, look at this, look at that. Let me show you something. And so to really take advantage of what I'm there for, which is to have those moments with my son, I just have to be present in that moment. So there was a lot less footage gathering. I got a lot of content, though, like I talked about that I'm going to continue to do some stuff with over the coming weeks, so you'll see that. But in terms of like the daily vlogging and stuff, I just kept it super bare bones and enjoyed our time there, and we had a really, really great time. So I'm already at 15 minutes of talking, so I got to edit this. Good to be back. I'll see you in the next videos.